kind of the jam.
All right, welcome back. Welcome in, JAK family, JAK friends. This is the show where we bring people in to interview, friends of the show, friends of ours. Kevin, I know you wanted to give them a little rundown about what's going on.
What's up? Good morning. Happy Friday. It's the Ace, baby
Sure.
Ace, little Ace, Ace Jr.
Yeah.
Some people call me the Deuce. Good morning. I just want to thank everyone that's watching and subscribing right now. We really appreciate all the support. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And
Click that button.
Yeah, whatever they say, mash that button.
Mash that button.
And also, you know, an hour-long show is kind of long, so what we're going to be doing is that we'll have clips of all the different parts, so you guys can watch little links and share with each other, and don't have to watch the whole entire show. And we'll have that in our saved playlist, so you can check that out. And also, since I'm not just going to try to do this podcast in Houston, I'm going to try to retain some of our guests. And Nicco, you're going to hate me for this. But I'm going to put this on. But I'm representing, I'm swinging and banging here. But I'm going to put this on.
Is this for our boy out in Atlanta?
This is our boys in Atlanta that I burned the hat. Mac, I think you can grab that hat. Grab me the other one. So, you guys were the better team, and I said I put it on.
Wow.
Put it on.
Wow.
Nicco's shaking his head, and I'm throwing it away. So, throw them both away. But yeah, we appreciate the support, man.
Yes.
You know, it's all in good fun on the baseball stuff, man. We do appreciate you guys subscribing. Nicco, what's going on? Talk us in. What we got going today?
Yeah, man. So we're thankful to have our buddy here who will be interviewing today, talking about a near-death experience that he's gone through. But like always, we want to get started with some icebreakers, talk about some local news, some things going on. Of course, after we left y'all last week, we had a huge concert here, Astroworld Fest. And if you have, I'm sure you've seen the news. This morning, the 9th person passed away from being trampled, and I think there was over 300 people that were injured. Basically, what happened was Travis Scott had a huge guest list of folks coming in here to Houston, put on a couple-day concert, and people decided that they were just going to run over the barricades and push through the security to go all the way up to the front and just stampede, and ended up trampling on at least 8 individuals were dead on that first day of the concert. So Kevin, I know you had some thoughts about this Astroworld Fest.
Yeah, I did. So I'm trying to find the link right now, and I'm just going to tell y'all some statistics because me and my wife got into a debate, and I'm sure you, Matt, have something to say about this with the media. And I don't want to sound insensitive because any loss of life is a loss of life, and it's tragic. I feel empathy for the families and to the friends of people that were lost, but I kind of want to put things in perspective about what's happening in the world. And this might offend people, it might not. I really don't care. This is something that I want to say. And I'll pull this up after we kind of talk about this a little more to show you. It's a live ticker. 18,000 people die a day from hunger. Okay? And I'm just going to let that sit in. I'll say it one more time. 18,000 people starve to death or have some sort of death because of lack of nutrition. And how many people died at the Astroworld event?
It's 9 now.
Okay. All right, so I just wanted to put that in perspective. So,
yeah, sure.
So I mean, this is a tragic event. Nicco, talk about it. Let us know what you think about it. But I just want to remind people that 18,000 people around the world are dying a day from hunger.
Well, hey man, if we want to get into statistics, I mean, again, not to be insensitive, but our birth rate every single day is triple that of our death rate. And Kevin's heard me talk about this before. The real virus is not whatever people are telling you. The real virus on this planet is us.
I agree.
We are drastically.
So the definition of a virus, I don't know if virus is the correct one. I think it might be called.
I'm using an analogy.
But the better word would be parasite. And the reason I say that is because a parasite lives off a host. And I believe, this is sad but true, I believe humans are kind of a parasite that's living off the earth and trying to take over and kind of, I don't know how long the parasite will live, because if the host dies, which is trees, oxygen, and life and water, then the parasite dies, which would be us. Which the birth rate is good, I guess, because we need to be procreating to keep civilization alive, correct?
I don't know that we need to procreate anymore at this point. I mean...
But we got to keep it going.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if everybody has one child versus whatever the statistics are right now...
You got to have two. Two to replace one, right?
We need to come down in population size. Like, so if you look...
Elon Musk would say the opposite.
If you look at where we were prior to 1800, we had less than 1 billion people on the planet. In fact, actually, we had less than 1 billion, I think, by 1900. And by 1950, we had 2 billion. And now, 50, 60, almost 70 years later, we actually have almost 8 billion people living on the planet. So there's been a population explosion within this last 100 years. And we've diminished the resources of this planet. You know, if you just want to be realistic about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if viruses are man-made or they're, from the earth. The ones that I'm talking about right now.
But which we do not say the C word.
We're not going to talk about it.
We don't say the C word.
I am going to tell you this.
What, China virus?
We don't talk. We just keep COVID off the table because it's so annoying.
I will tell you this. If the virus is not man-made and is produced by the Earth, it may be the Earth's way of telling you, I'm trying to fight off this parasite that's on me.
Exactly.
Okay? So I'll leave it at that. I didn't have anything else about the Astroworld Fest. Look, I support Travis Scott just from a standpoint of he's from Houston, right? So he gets out there, he does his thing, makes Houston look good. This particular incident did not. I mean, we unfortunately gained, media attention, not just nationally, but globally because of this event. And, it's sad that people lost their life, like you said. But in reality, the loss of life is nothing like, losing it to hunger.
Yeah, what I was relating that to, and me and my wife were talking about it, is how much money those things create and how much food you can provide for a family with all that revenue that's generated by that Astroworld event. And not just that one, all of them, and I don't know if there's a solution for it. I mean, I've always told you that the snowball's too big to stop. I kind of believe that. You got to get on board these days or get run over in life. And I don't know if we can change what's going on with those hungry people. I mean, hopefully something will happen, but I'm not really sure.
I had a buddy talk to me about this the other day because he used to work for Minute Maid downtown. It's our Houston Astros baseball park. And he would park at the parking lot that was designated for the people who worked there. And as he's walking closer to the ballpark, the parking spaces become more expensive. So you get to ones that are already like $100 a day parking just for that event. And he said what struck him was that you have to step over homeless people who are starving just to get to those parking spaces. And he thought to himself, somebody's paying $100 for this particular game to park here, and this person is sitting here on the ground with no food.
I got something to say about that. And you can check these out on my regular YouTube channel, and I will actually repost them on the JAK channel. So I went to LA not too long ago, and I think I've kind of talked about it. I had a midlife crisis.
Skid Row?
I went to Skid Row.
Okay.
And I drove around Skid Row. I had videos, all of it. I stopped and talked to some people. If it wouldn't have been raining, I was going to park and get out and kind of interview people, because not a lot of people know that Skid Row is not just a term, it's a true area where they actually pushed all these people from LA into this small group and basically said, you stay there and we'll stay over here. And I drove by City Hall and I saw a guy step over a homeless guy as he parked his Mercedes. Got out, the parking garage, or lot, it wasn't a garage, it was a lot, fenced in, was across the street, lined with tents. And this guy gets out of his Mercedes-Benz, steps over, walking through the tents. They're everywhere. It's like it's okay to do it, And he walks into City Hall. And if you go another 2 blocks, you see just multi-million-dollar condos. Not even the building, just the condos alone are multi-million dollars. And man, Skid Row is not a term; it is an area. And we'll talk more about it. I know a lot about it. Do a lot of research, and I've been real into like the homeless community through work. We do a lot of charity with the Hope Center, and what that place is a facility where homeless people can go and shower, use the internet, look for jobs, use the phone, clean themselves up. It's not a spend the night place, but they can go there during the day. And we support them a lot. And also, me and my buddy Chris Sergi, that we've been trying to get on this show for a while, we used to collect signs from homeless people. We would actually buy them from them. And we had probably, I don't know, 50 to 100 signs that we had collected. And our initial goal at the time was to auction these off. And Chris probably still has them. It kind of fell apart. It was something that we were, toying around when we were young. And I even had one guy that I tried to buy the sign for $100. And he goes, I'm not selling you this sign. This sign makes me $100 a day. So it's kind of like wishy-washy what's going on with these people that are asking for money on the side of the road.
The thing with homeless, too, is because I used to work downtown, so I'd see them every day. I'd say 99% of the ones I saw is they're either drug addicts or they have mental health issues.
Mental health is the big deal.
And so did one cause the other? I don't know, but a lot of those guys aren't hungry. They want to buy heroin because I'll see them coming in, I'll see them going out for lunch, and they're literally sitting on Travis Street nodding out. You can walk by and coming back from Chipotle, try to give them your extra taco, and a lot of times they don't want it.
I won't give money. I won't give money to it.
It's the heroin and the meth and the alcohol.
Years ago, when Nicole was going to school down there at University of Houston, I would go down with her because I didn't have anything to do at the time. I didn't have a real job, but I would make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I'd go pass them out downtown. And I remember I got into a long conversation. Like I just sat down and chilled with this guy for a long time. And I was asking him about his hand, which was in a bandage, or he had a cast on, and he said that they were having basically bum fights down there for money. Like they would get together, they'd bet on each other, there'd be a pot to take home, and he won the pot but broke his hand. And I was like, man, so did you have to spend all the money to get your hand fixed? He said, well, luckily I'm a veteran, so I can go down to the VA and get the physical therapy, and I can get the cast on. And so I just started asking him. I was like, man, how did you wind up here, man? Because he started telling me that he's got a wife, an ex-wife now, and a son who at the time was 17, who live in Florida. And he said he'd go down, collect his check from the VA every month for serving, and then he would take like $100 to $200 out of it, use it just for alcohol. He'd send the rest to her to take care of their son. And he said, man, Nicco, he's like, honestly, like I just can't give up the alcohol. He's like, and because of that, like I'm probably gonna see myself sitting here on this corner for the rest of my life.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Finally, it's got to get to a point where you don't like what's going on. Because I'm an alcoholic, and so I like to drink. I want to drink, but I know I can't, because I can see there's people like you and me down there that had regular families and regular lives.
Yeah. That's the scary part, that a lot of people are 1 or 2 payments away from possibly being homeless. And what kind of weirds me out, or not weirds me out, but I question is that how many bridges have you burned to not have a place to sleep? I'd be sleeping in your guest bedroom whether you let me or not. I'd just come in,
Your garage. At least your garage. I can't stay in your garage or what?
They've already burnt these many bridges, or they just don't want to be a part of society because they either have mental health issues or they don't have the responsibility and they can just live their life and get comfortable with it. So
there is a large amount of them that have mental health disorders. I mean, you can just see they're talking to themselves,
talking to the shadows.
And like you said, you don't know if if they use drugs because they had that problem already, or if they have
the
that problem
drugs
now
cause
because of the
them.
drugs.
They kind of go together.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people that with mental health issues end up self-medicating if they're not under a prescription with a doctor's care, and that happens a lot.
Well, man, let's move off of the heavy subject.
Yeah.
I wanted to give the people a little kind of snippet, just a snapshot into our text history. You had mentioned it once before, how we were going on and on about, like, there was a rap argument that was going on in our text messages, and I like to give Kevin and some of the guys that we hang out with a hard time. I actually like Wu-Tang, love Old Dirty Bastard, love Method Man, like Wu-Tang, but these guys, a few of them, maybe not Kevin, a few of them in our group are like so diehard Wu-Tang that they think, oh, GZA's Liquid Swords is the best thing that, you know, it ever came out since sliced bread.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm like constantly giving them business, trying to jab and freaking poke and
It's almost like you're throwing gasoline on this fire, Nicco. I mean,
yeah, I am.
You are. Okay, he's admitted it.
Yeah.
He has admitted it.
Yeah, so, you know, I'll come in and I'll say something like, you know what? You know what's better than Wu-Tang? Kid Rock.
God, jeez. So yeah, on this text chain too, you know, instead of taking your hip hop advice, I took some crypto advice, and y'all started calling me Crypto Kev.
Crypto Kev.
Man, I got into this thing called. Actually, I'm not even gonna tell you because I don't want you to be involved in it anymore. But I hit a lick, dude. It was my first time to get invested in some cryptocurrency, and I'm up over like 300% on my investment. And I'm not gonna sell out. I'm gonna hold it. I'm not gonna be that guy that's in 10 years where, man, this would have been worth $1 billion. So I'm hanging on to it. And I was watching my ticker. I've made $400 since we got here this morning. So thank you very much. Thank you, Crypto Kev in the house.
So, but put it in proportion. Did you start off with $100 or start off with $1,000?
So what I did,
$100,000.
What I did is that I committed to put $5,000 into cryptocurrency.
So you're up 15,000. I'm up
25,000 on, or I'm up 2,500. I'm sorry, I'm up 2,500 on the 5. So I'm sitting at 85. Actually, I'm up 3,500. I'm sorry, I'm up 3,500 for my $5,000 investment so far.
Okay.
And I'm not putting any more money in. I've just committed while I learn this process to just play with the 5,000, kind of learn it. I'm trying to focus on not
subscribe, and Kevin will help you out with.
I'm not accounting. I think you even have to say that none of this is like
financial advice.
This is not financial advice. Don't listen to anything I have saying. You know, invest at your own risk. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like I got on the ground floor of something cool. I mean, it was my first big move, and I was watching the ticker drop and bought some more from transfer, not with more cash. I transferred another Bitcoin type of thing to buy some more.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about all this Bitcoin stuff, man. But a guy that I was hanging out with the other day said that years ago, he used to get online poker, and they would bet with Bitcoin. He'd win pots that were like 150 Bitcoins, but he said back then it only was like a penny.
Yeah.
And he said just recently he went back through the sites, everyone that he played on, to see if he had anything left over, because the Bitcoin is like, he said this to me, I don't know if this even makes sense. He said it was like some astronomical number.
So right now the Bitcoin is worth $68,000. And Bitcoin came out, they were selling it for a penny. And Bitcoin is the one that kind of created blockchain technology. And we could talk about blockchain technology. A lot of people don't understand what crypto even is. And it's based on blockchain technology. And it doesn't just have to do with money. It has to do with structures, platforms, app sites. There's just a lot that blockchain technology does. It's called decentralized information, where it's not controlled by a governing body, is what it is. And it is the future. The government's already investing in their own type of cryptocurrency. It's a checks and balances, and you can't print $1 trillion of new Bitcoin like someone signed the other day. Like, where did that money come from that we signed? We signed a bill for $1 trillion. Like, where did that money come from? We're already in debt like 28 trillion. Are we not?
Man.
It's just imaginary. People always ask me, what is crypto worth? Well, what's your dollar worth, you know?
Yeah.
The thing with Bitcoin is there will never be any more than 21 million.
Yeah, it's stagnant.
So
it's always be that.
Yeah. So, but Dogecoin, you can make more of it.
Yeah. There's a lot of different coins out there. Bitcoin has seemed to be the one that's going to stay. And if I were to give advice, Bitcoin is not a bad thing to be in, I don't think. So I don't know.
It would have been better to get it at $5 than at $68,000.
Yeah.
Though.
I have some at 44,000. Not a whole coin.
Yeah.
Not a whole coin, but
A fraction of
a fraction of a coin. Yeah. A very small fraction of a coin. And like, I'm scared to do it, you know, like you're playing with your own money.
Anything you hear of after the fact, it's the time to get in is already over.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So,
I took a gamble on the one that I did, and I got a little tip, and
Little bird.
a little bird came in and then told me, told a lot of people this, and no one did it. And the people that told me, they didn't do it. So they're just like, you did it? And I was like, I did it, you know? And it worked. And they're all like, congratulations. And I'm like, for what? I just did what you told me to do.
So again, hit subscribe and Kevin will give you information.
I'll give you all the information. The best thing to do is to send me your money.
Yeah, please.
I will invest it for you.
Please.
So.
So anyways, one of the other things that came out in our text message that I wanted to move into for an icebreaker for bringing Matt on the show, we started texting about who was the, so first it came out like, who was the best rapper turned actor? Or let me rephrase that. Who's the best of all the rappers who have acted? Who's the best actor out of all of them?
There was so many.
There were so many. Like
out.
We started throwing out ideas, and then every once in a while we go, "Oh dang, I forgot about this guy." You know,
Ice Cube, huh?
I thought Ice Cube
wasn't the best actor, but
I thought
no,
Ice
I think
Cube,
he's a good actor. For
then someone threw out Will Smith. If you called his stuff rap,
that's the winner.
there was.
And then we followed back with
Marky Mark.
Marky Mark
Was in there. If you
You
call
got
him
Ice T does all
Yeah.
them.
Ice T's good, but I mean Ice Cube. Really.
Cube was up there.
He's
and
the
then it
most
was like,
gangster rapper and
that's
actor.
it, right? Like if you
But-
say gangster rap,
And producer.
yeah.
He
Wasn't
made all the
he
projects.
just all around entrepreneur? Because if you actually watch the first Friday, his lines and acting skills isn't all that great.
And
But
he improved.
his
He improved.
concept, you know, like, yeah.
I think Cube. I mean, honestly, whether or not you thought Friday was a great acting job, I thought he did well as far as somebody coming from a different industry to make movies. You know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
wasn't
clearly we've
meant
seen
to be.
some rappers, you know, that whether it's I don't know,
Yeah.
you know, RZA or somebody like that, they get on and it's all right. But Cube, like, you could watch movies with Cube. Like, I watched with my kids, Are We There Yet? Are We Done Yet? Or whatever the second one was, you know. So, I mean, he, you know, honestly, I think he's had a pretty decent career. It's just, do you call DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince rap? Because if you do, then unfortunately probably Will Smith supplants him as an actor.
Yeah.
And then if you go that route, then you have to say, well, then isn't Marky Mark technically a rapper too? And does Mark's career hold more weight than Will's or not? You know,
I don't think Marky Mark's career does, and he had a lot of like kind of drama roles, but he's actually been in some comedies lately with Will Ferrell.
oh yeah, the Daddy's Home.
Yeah, Daddy's Home, and
too.
then they did another one with their police officers.
Oh yeah.
That one's hilarious.
The other guys.
That one's really funny. Where do you think The Rock and,
And
Samuel Jackson, they just jump off the building? They got like 5 minutes in the
5
movie,
minutes
you
in
know?
the movie, yeah.
But yeah, I think Will Smith would have to take the cake if we were talking about
From the
someone
serious
that raps.
dramas that he's done.
But I mean, Ice Cube, by far the best gangster rapper / actor, or real rapper, I guess if that would be the correct word. Yeah, I don't know. We had a lot of names that popped up, and then we were talking about dead rappers.
Yeah, who's the best dead rapper of all time?
Matt, who do you think the best dead rapper is?
I'm a Tupac guy.
Yeah, so we said
We threw out obviously Tupac,
Biggie, I mean Easy, Bushwick Bill that died recently. Then I threw out one that I thought would have been the first one out besides the Tupac and Biggie, obviously, but DJ Screw. I don't know if he was a big rapper, but he changed the landscape of Texas rap. And I don't think, is that undeniable, or are you? I'm looking at you, and you seem like you got something to say, dude.
I don't know. There was to put him up there with the dead rappers, I don't know.
What about dead hip hop influencers?
I guess. I mean, does anybody outside of Houston, Texas listen to...
No,
Screw?
but he influenced a lot of different style raps that ended up going nationwide. That's the truth. That is true.
And at the time, I'm sure it was all over the U.S. at the time.
It kind of put Texas on the map. UGK and then the Ghetto Boys and then DJ Screw came around and really kind of took their music to another level as well and broader audience.
Do you think people listen to Paul Wall outside of Houston, Texas?
Is Paul Wall? Is he? What's up with him? I thought I saw him working at HEB. Is that not right? Is that HEB?
Hey, don't listen to this guy, Paul.
Oh, hey, sorry, Paul. Was it Kroger? My bad. No, I don't mean, what's up with that guy? I don't know.
Hey, man, we support you, man.
Oh, what
Houston,
about
Houston proud.
What
Houston
about
strong.
South Park Mexican? Did he
No,
die?
he's getting out of prison.
Is
Okay.
it?
Yeah, I heard that's.
So that was the next thing. We were
Yeah.
like, what about who's the best rapper in prison?
Yeah.
And actually, I said, who's the best rapper in prison for having sex with a minor? And I was like, everybody was like, SPM.
So I actually I went to this place where I met South Park Mexican, and it just happened to be county jail. I was just visiting. But man, I saw him tell the whole entire story to a trustee through the door. They were talking, and man, I'm a rep for you, South Park Mexican. I heard what you said, and he did not do what was accused of him. He was with the mother, and the mother was trying to blackmail him and use the daughter to get him in trouble. Was his story. And they looked like homeboys, and he explained it, and I was just kind of ear-jacking the conversation, you know. Then he went and he did some flows for some people. It was really cool. He was rapping in the holding cell. Again, I was just visiting, you know, I was doing some pastoral work and praying for people while I was in there, so no big deal.
He did a whole album
While in jail.
like over the phone.
Yeah,
They recorded him.
yeah.
It's crazy. But I told these guys, I was like, I know what's on my workout list tomorrow, man. On repeat, freaking Wiggy, dude.
Wiggy.
Yeah, man, that thing goes hard, man. Yeah, that joint goes hard. SPM, Wiggy. So check that out.
Yeah, we look forward to you getting out of prison, South Park Mexican.
I believe it. You know.
You
Okay.
believe you believe he was guilty?
No,
I believe that's
up.
No,
possible.
set up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do I. I mean, I think it happens more.
I'm watching the Kyle Rittenhouse trial right now, and because I'm not working, there's video evidence of everything that basically, except for the first shots, of everything that happened that night. And the defense's case is great. The prosecution is not so great, but still, even for him to having to be there and defend himself on trial for murder, you know, there's a lot of DAs that know about innocent people that they've locked up.
Yeah.
Politically motivated, you know.
I was saying the other day that through the court system is that if every single person said not guilty, they would have to let over 75% of the people go out of jail. And the reason that is because of plea bargains. And I wish I had billions of dollars so I could be an advocate for this, because a court-appointed lawyer will want to get paid by the case. And I've seen it happen where they've talked the person into taking the plea because of the risk. Yeah. And I don't think those people are guilty, but as a lot of them are young black men that are in trouble and might have gotten in trouble once before, and they're looking at 2 to 20 years.
We all went through it when we were young.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to be black.
I was guilty.
Yeah,
so.
Well, nobody's saying we're not guilty.
But
what I'm saying is
part
what they have us up on for charges.
Yeah.
Like we should, in most of all of our cases, I don't think that they would have had enough evidence to say without a reasonable doubt, you're guilty, and had convicted us. Yet, like you said, most of our DAs were like,
take the plea.
You better do it, because otherwise the judge is going to freaking throw the book at you, and she's going to give you 20 years.
I can take probation today and go home, or I can sit here for another month and drag this out for another year potentially.
Yeah.
I'm taking the probation. I'm going to change my ways when I get home.
Yeah.
I'm not smoking. I'm not drinking. I'm not hanging out with anybody.
Easier said than done.
How old are you? I'm 19.
Yeah, I'm never going to drink. I'm not even supposed to be drinking.
I'm done.
That's funny. Well, Matt, dude, we're so glad you came on the show, dude, and what we wanted, with your permission, is to kind of go through your near-death experience in a way so that some of the people who are listening or viewing, I thought in my mind would say, I can see signs of that in my, like for instance, if there's a sign to show them, or I don't know why don't we do this? Why don't I just say this? We call it an aneurysm, but I don't know if that's the technical term for what happened to you. Can you tell me and Kevin what the technical term is?
Yeah, I don't even know what that. So it was an AVM. AVM. I don't know what it. The M stands for malformation, and the A is something intravenous. Basically, what that means is, so you have blood vessels in your brain, and those blood vessels go to veins, and then I think capillaries. Basically, your brain is getting blood. So your blood vessels kind of run like this. I had a spot in my brain where they're all like squiggled up, and it's common. You're born with it. Some people never know they have it. Other people like me. So what happened was I was in 24-hour fitness working out, and I was doing the machine that simulates the dips.
Okay. So
I had just gotten back from vacation. It was a Friday night, and so I wasn't going heavy. Probably 15 to 18 reps.
How many days after you got back from vacation? Because I think this is important to the story. It was the next day, right?
We got back Thursday evening.
And you were at the gym Friday.
Friday night. I was in the gym because I was going to work Monday, trying to get back on the right track, all that stuff. Well, so I was doing my set. I did my reps, and then when I was done, I just felt like I had a headache. I was getting a headache. So I'm a person that doesn't normally get headaches. Anyway, I basically ended the workout. It was 8:30. The 24-hour closes at 9.
This 24-hour fitness.
Does it close at 9?
Yeah. It's awkward.
So I set my
advertising.
Internal clock. I was like, because I always think the worst. I'm like, I literally thought, man, what if I get an aneurysm from working out?
Oh, you actually thought that?
Yeah, because I tend to think the worst case scenario, but
that's crazy. I don't know.
That went through your mind as you got the headache?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that part.
Because, so I set my internal clock. I drove home. I took 2 leave when I got home, and it was gradually getting worse. And I told Beverley, my wife, I was like, you may need to take me to the hospital tonight, half joking. About another hour went past, and my headache was getting so bad I couldn't stand it. So I knew there was something wrong because I don't get headaches. I was like, Beverley, let's go to the emergency room. And by this time, I'm in the car, and I'm just like holding my head, and so we get to the emergency room, and it was basically like a tent. It looked like a third world country, because I guess because of COVID.
Yeah, where they check you in.
So I go check in with the nurse. I'm telling her my symptoms. Well, this guy overheard me that worked there and said, put him in the front of the line to get a brain scan. And so I waited another 20, 30 minutes. I was in pain. I was laying on the floor. They put me in a wheelchair and went and got my scanned my head, and they saw I was bleeding in my brain.
Wow.
And they were like, well, the ambulance is an hour and 45 minutes away. We're going to LifeFlight you. And I was like, okay. At that point, that's when they finally gave me morphine. And you're in pain when they give you a shot of morphine, and all it does is take the pain away. The pain was still there, but
yeah.
I was looking forward to actually getting morphine. I'm like, well, what's this going to feel?
At this point, did you know the severity of what you were doing when they were talking about LifeFlight? Did you know that this was something big, or did you just kind of were like in shock still of what was happening?
Yeah, I'm in survival mode. I've been in situations not the same, but you're just kind of like the morning before I went to prison. You kind of are in shock.
Yeah.
But
so I wanted to pause just for a minute, because one thing I wanted to do was, in order for our audience to understand, like, you're like us, you're just a normal person.
Yeah.
I wanted to give them a little bit of just, who you are. Like, so we know you. You're married to another friend of ours, Beverley, and y'all have 3 daughters.
Yep.
We've 25 years that we've known each other.
Well, your daughters are. Can you give us their age?
Breland's 14, Jocelyn's 9, and then Graceland is 2.
Okay. So you got it's definitely outmatched at the house as far as female to male relations. But Matt, tell us what are some of your hobbies and interests, man? Because I just want everybody to kind of get a sense of man, this could be me.
Yeah.
Well, hobbies and interests. What I do is, so I'm an alcoholic. Is what I really am, and alcoholic / drug addict. Alcohol is my first drug of choice, and then after I drink and get drunk, I'll go to other things. And so that's not wanting to drink has been a priority. So that sets my life up in a different way. So what that means is basically all I did was going to work, going home, taking kids to practice.
You work in elevator repair,
elevator installation.
Okay, elevator installation.
Yeah. So
now I know you go fishing though.
Yeah. I used to.
You don't go anymore.
But every time, so I was fishing with one of our friends, Robbie, a bunch. And when me and Robbie used to hang out, some bad things would happen as far as drinking and all that goes. So, no. Yeah,
so no fishing right now.
No fishing.
E-bikes. We both got e-bikes. We were riding the e-bikes around. That was fun.
That's part of my problem. I need more
activities, and I don't drink either, and me and Matt have kind of, helped each other out through the not drinking process, and we started riding bikes during COVID, and it's kind of the hardest time to not drink during COVID. I mean, we had every excuse in the world, life was really, really tough at that time. So, man, I'm proud of you, Matt, because I think if you would have been drinking that night, it could have got a lot worse.
Absolutely.
You probably would have went in and pounded some beers and fell asleep, and who knows if you would have woke up, because what ended up happening was life or death, right? Yeah. The LifeFlight to that hospital and the quickness of it saved your life. I want to know what it was like flying in a helicopter.
Yeah, so I wanted to give them the background of you, so so they know this is a guy. He used to like fishing, but because of some priorities that he needed to make in his own life, has given up some of his hobbies. Because he does have 3 daughters that he really cares about his whole family, family of females.
Works hard for the union and gets paid a lot of money building elevators. So if you ride up an elevator in Houston, Matt's probably been a part of it.
All right, and so now go back. They've given you the morphine. So what does it look like going into? We're gonna have to LifeFlight you.
I'm just like at this point, it's not in my control. I believe in God and all the things that come along with that. Because that's one of the things that when you're an alcoholic and you've tried many things to quit drinking, and at the end of the day, the only AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is telling you got to surrender to God. I've always kind of believed in God, but in my brain, it's hard to tell me that there's this power that I can't see that's just going to make me not want to drink anymore. So.
I don't think that he makes you not drink. I think he hopefully gives you some inspiration. The work is yours. You got to do the work.
Yeah,
you got to do the work.
So going to the LifeFlight.
Okay, so they just gave me this shot of morphine. I'm kind of in the back. I'm in a bed. The next thing I remember is these 2 female nurses coming in, and they remind me. They had their hair cut short. They were young. So they reminded me of Navy or Air Force, something military. Anyway, they come in. They put me on their stretcher, transfer the IVs, do all that stuff, and then we go out the door. And
are you on the roof? Or you?
No, it landed in the parking lot at Willowbrook Methodist on 249.
And the parking lot is where their LifeFlight is.
So I come out in the stretcher. They load me in to the helicopter. The back doors kind of open like that. The stretcher goes right in. They shut the doors, but the doors have like a 2-foot gap in them. The nurses get behind me. I can not see where they're strapped in at. And then, of course, the pilots are up front, or pilot, whatever. But so this LifeFlight, since I've been out, I started Googling different types of LifeFlights, because the one I was in was super loud. It had these jet engines. I thought they were supposed to put earmuffs on you, but they didn't do that for me. So I'm in the stretcher, I'm laying down, and I can see out the door.
Because of the 2-foot gap.
Yeah, because of the gap.
Were you like, hey, can you shut the door?
No, I'm like, the pain has finally subsided. I was in agony. I'm still in shock, because looking back on it, I see that I was in shock.
Did Beverley get in, or no?
No.
Yeah, it's just you.
Just me.
Okay.
So we take off. The jet engines are just howling, and I'm looking out the back, and I'm like, oh wow, this is crazy. It's actually cool. We took off. I'm seeing the lights. You don't take off, get to a certain height, and then go. I mean, these helicopters basically, are going like that. And so I was checking out the lights, and I'm just kind of zoned out in my head, and everything. And all of a sudden, we're moving pretty good, all of a sudden, we come in and we land in the medical center, and we land like this. And, so we came in real fast, and all of a sudden, my vision goes down. I'm looking at the ground, and I still stutter because of the accident. But basically, we land. They get me into the hospital. They move me over to another stretcher. They take that stretcher, and they're gone. And that was it. But so from where we're at to the medical center, you guys know how far that is.
It's got to be a good 25 miles, right?
It's got to be. There's a 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
So it took 7 minutes.
Nice. I mean, not nice, but I mean, it's good that they went fast. I mean, that jet engine one might have been the lifesaver.
From the time I was in 24-hour fitness and I felt the pain in my head, till the time I was already at the medical center downtown, basically, had been less than 6 hours.
Wow.
There was another guy in there, my same age, that this happened to. He was at work, not even doing anything. A lot of times these things rupture without. One guy I read, he sneezed, and then all of a sudden his blood, so it can happen. But anyway, the one guy happened to. He went home to sleep it off, and his wife went in to wake him up in a couple hours, and he was on the ground having a seizure. Mm. So the time is of the essence when your brain is actually bleeding on the inside.
At any point, did you think that you might die?
No, because the problem is I look back on it and I can see that. So when I got to the hospital, I think the next day or something, they went up through an artery and stopped the bleeding. But when
they cut your head open.
No, they go up through an artery.
Okay, through your legs.
I don't know where they went, but you have one of your groin they can use, and they go up in there with how they do it. I don't know.
It seems like there'd be a shorter route, but this is actually I looked it up. It's the route of least resistance.
Yeah, they inject dye in your brain. They go up and they have you under an X-ray machine. They're able to go up there and they can see where they're at and all that. So they stopped the bleeding, but when they went up there, they saw the AVM and said it's more serious than what we thought, and it's in the middle of his brain. So basically, they had to let the swelling go down. So for 9 days, I was just idle. And I am able to go back on my phone and on my notes, I put morphine, fentanyl, all these different medications I could have and when I could have them, because I still had pain. So for 9 days, I don't remember, but I was getting mass quantities of opiates for the pain, to where at one point they almost had to give me the Narcan because my heartbeat was down to like 25 beats per minute.
It was slowing you down too much, huh?
Yeah. So for 9 days, I don't really remember. I can go back and look at texts and phone calls and kind of see what I was doing. But the only thing I remember after LifeFlight was waking up after this actual surgery where they had to go in and do the operation. It was a 7-hour operation. They had to ventilate me, which I didn't really. Maybe I did know what was going to happen, but I can't remember. what was going to happen. So I just woke up and couldn't move.
They didn't have to crack your skull open or anything, did they?
They made. I saw
the
the.
scar.
I don't know if we can see the scar. I'm gonna zoom in on your scar, man. So just hang on 1 second.
And of course, I have those pictures with the staples in my head.
You can see it right here.
So yeah, I saw it when he was shaved head, and you just saw my bald head in there too. So, it was. I mean, they cut open a big chunk, and opened it up, and then went
into the skull.
Yeah.
They what I think they had to do was actually grind the skull, take the skull out, and then they could work on it, and then they put the skull back on.
Correct.
And they used like 30 something screws, titanium screws, to fit it.
Yeah.
So let's come out of surgery. At what point, how long after surgery is it that you wake? And then when you do wake, what do you realize is different?
So I think I was at 24 Hour Fitness on July 17th. I remember waking up, it was July 29th.
Wow.
And when I did, so the first time I woke up, so when you're done, they put all these leads on your head, and that's connected to a machine that is going to monitor for strokes and seizures. Well, I didn't know those were in my head. So the first thing I remember is when I lift my head up, but it being restricted. And there was a clock on the wall, and I couldn't see it. I could only see the clock. I couldn't see what time it was. And then I could see on a chair a sweater. And I thought that was Beverly's sweater. So I thought she was in another room. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to find out where my wife was, and I wanted to see what time it was. I was just coming out of everything, so I really didn't know where I was at. And so I keep trying to lift my neck up. I'm pulling these leads out of my head, and the nurse comes in, and they hold me down, and what are you doing, and all that. Well, come to find out, Beverly wasn't there yet, and so they did the leads, and they put me in a room, and I didn't know.
Seems like they would have had you should have had your hands restricted if somebody's coming out of something and they don't know that they're gonna have those stuff.
They did with the ventilator, so I didn't realize what a ventilator even was, even with COVID and all that. I had no idea it was a thing that they actually, a big tube that they stuck down you. And,
so it's inside your lungs.
Yeah.
To breathe. It breathes
to breathe.
for you. Yeah, it's not like an oxygen mask.
So to take the ventilator out, they said that was kind of weird because it took me an extra day to come off the anesthesia. And my eyes were kept fluttering in the back of my head, and they said that wasn't normal. And they finally get you to a point where they think you can breathe on your own. I don't know how they do that. And then they told Beverly to leave the room, and they pulled it out. I don't remember any of that. So the only thing I remember was waking up or being awake, not being able to talk, only saying one word and just repeating it.
What was the word?
I don't remember.
Okay.
So I couldn't talk for like the first day. My whole right side was paralyzed. They use the term weak. I say paralyzed because
Were you freaked out?
The first 3 days was difficult. When you finally realize I wasn't in any more pain, I was having opiate withdrawals. I didn't know it, and the most movement. I'm hooked up. I got needles in me and all kinds of things around me, but this was the most movement I can get on day one.
Just the thumb.
Barely moved the thumb.
Which was a blessing. When we heard that, like everyone was jumping for joy, man.
Yeah,
we were communicating. Beverly was communicating with me, and I was communicating with a lot of the friends, and people were praying for you. And when we heard your thumb move, man, that was because it could have not.
Yeah.
Because we had heard in most cases, like you're going to lose some loss of limbs, and
Yeah.
And so you've come back a lot, man. They're almost, to me, I wouldn't even know, if I didn't know the whole story.
It's been 3.5 months, and I've come so far. I mean, there's still things I can't do. Yeah, but if you saw me and you didn't know, you wouldn't be able to tell that anything ever happened.
Now you told us before we got on air here. Maybe it's funny to some, maybe it's just funny to me, but you had to learn how to wipe your butt. How long did that take?
Everything you usually do with your right hand, you then have to do with your left. So it just, so in physical therapy, there's no exercise I can do to, like, I'm not going to sit there and do ass wiping movements.
That's like 10 burpees, 10 ass wipes.
That's not an exercise?
Yeah.
But, so it's two things. It's a few things. And, so my left side was weak just for laying in the bed for 3 days.
Like atrophy.
You take a normal, healthy human being and put them in a bed and don't let them up for a week, and they're going to be really weak. The muscles that they had, even if they worked out every day, aren't going to be there. So my left side was weak. My right side was, I call it paralyzed, because when they work on the left side of the brain, the right side is going to be the one affected. Vice versa.
What did they tell you the recovery might look like as far as both time and what they expected you to be able to do?
Man, so the doctors will never tell you. They'll never give a timeline, and I actually think that's the right thing to do,
Not to get people's hopes up.
Yeah, because I go to physical therapy and I see people that are worse off than me. It all depends on how long it bled for, does it bleed during the operation, do they nick something? I mean, you're dealing with the brain, so they just basically have different ways to gauge, When I'm moving my hand on day 3 and I'm able to raise it like that, they know so you get doctors that come around in the morning and you're still asleep, and they'll come in there and tell you move your arm, try to move your leg, and one of the doctors said you'll do well, and I remember him saying that because later on I found out it's usually the arm and the hand that come back last. So if that's something that's coming back first, if you get the arm movement, you'll always get the leg. If you get the leg, sometimes you might not get the arm.
Yeah.
So if I'm getting the arm before the leg, they're like, you're probably going to do well, because after they do the surgery and then, of course, button you up, it's going to be what it's going to be, Like, if you bled a lot, there was a chance I obviously could have died, could have passed away, but never walked, never moved my, Beverley said when the surgery was over, the doctor told her, your husband will do well, but I don't know about that lady down the hall. And maybe he shouldn't have said that, but it was just at the time. And we found out that she bled a lot during her surgery, So my doctor, Dr. Britt, is the head of neurosurgery at Houston Methodist. So one of the best hospitals to go
Shout
for
out, because
brain trauma.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Methodist. And Methodist, tell him about the doctor. He's one of the best in the world.
He's one of the best in the world. People find out that they have these that haven't bled yet and will plan a surgery to remove them. Though, if they have money will come from different countries just to have this doctor. And so I start looking at things like that, this one guy I know says, is it odd or is it God? Was it all these coincidences? I don't think so. The way it happened, how quick I was able to get down there, the doctor that I had, just all these, we were on the road for 12 hours driving back from Florida. It didn't happen on the road,
That was one of the things that I said that I was wanted you to preface, because if this would have happened 24 hours earlier, you would have been in a car.
Yeah.
And we were talking with Ace earlier, my dad, and we were kind of, you don't want to go to the hospital in the middle of Louisiana,
or even if
the timing was just, it was too great for your survival, and it really was.
And how I quit drinking, because I tend to quit for a certain amount of time and then relapse, and that's how I've always been. And so I had just relapsed and had been on a just drinking beer kick for like 3 weeks before I decided, or it was decided for me, that you're going to get sober again. So I had just gotten sober, just gotten back into AA, had maybe been into in a week before we left on a planned vacation. Of course, didn't drink during the vacation, and so had I been drinking, that would have been another thing. And then I'm also able to look back on certain things that happened weeks, months, and years before, and I think they all kind of led me to that one place. You know,
I'm curious, and maybe you don't even know this, but just in case people have curiosity, like I do, because this is something that you're born with. Is it something that can happen again to people who've had it?
No, mine was completely removed.
Okay.
Yeah, basically they reroute the vessels, and I'll show you a picture after that will give you a better idea. But basically, it's like all these highways that go to major roads, go to dirt roads, and that's all in your brain for everything to work. And mine was just all squirreled up. They called it like a small ball of yarn.
I did a lot of research on it, and people are born with them, and you can have them anywhere. They don't just have to be on your brain. They can be on your legs. My mom was real. She knew a lot about them as well, so she told me a lot about it. And I'm wondering if you knew this or they told you this. Is there a test that maybe someone can take to prevent this, or do you have any advice? Like, what was the point where you were like, I got to go to the hospital? And have they given you any instruction, like, hey, maybe we could have noticed this before the aneurysm popped up? Because when my mom said it, a lot of people have them and nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
That you'll never know. So I'm wondering, is there a test that maybe we could, give out to people that would know? I don't know.
You'd have to go. I believe you have to go get a CAT scan. MRI is more magnets, and that looks at tendons and ligaments.
And why would you spend that money if you didn't know? I mean, it's,
if you were maybe having migraines or something, and
did they tell you, like, while you're there, like, here are some of the signs that people have had in the past where they know, like, is it migraines?
It's basically the signs of a stroke.
Okay.
It could be blurred vision, speech, paralysis on one side of your body. But I knew, it started off as like that hangover headache, but very quickly intensified into, had I not been doing a single thing and just been sitting on the couch and got that headache, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
But it helped that you're in the middle of the set, you're working out, and you get a headache, Were you breathing? I always try to breathe, but will I hold my breath a little bit? Maybe,
So you're playing, those mind games with yourself, like, don't be a pansy. You're fine. No, something's really wrong.
I never would have thought that. That's what I had, and that's what was going to happen. I was perfectly healthy and physically, not mentally so much. But when something like
welcome
that
to the club.
kind of like with your leg and everything, you just go into survival mode. Like when I went to prison when I was young, you go into survival mode and just like.
Exist.
The human will and spirit, all that. A lot of people say, well, Matt, I'm so proud of you. All I did was tell someone I had pain in my head. God got me to the right people to help me. All I did was wake up, and just what I have inside me just to live is, just kind of came out. I'm not really doing anything special, or because I'm weak-minded, weak-willed, but I don't want to get religious on you because, but some of the things I went through before this with all the methamphetamine use, I had to find God, and I had to find him quick. Otherwise, there's a force out there. I don't want to say devil or whatever, but there's something out there that was trying to get me, basically. And it was a force, and I had to find God, or I'd be one of those guys. And I felt real bad with myself after it all had happened, because if I would have died, I'm getting to see the things now. You can look at, so what I got to do today is I got to pick 3 kids up from school. I go and I pick one up at 2:30 and sit and wait for another at 3, and then have to sit and wait till 4 for the third. But I'm glad I get to do that. I'm able to look at it not as a hassle, but as a
privilege. Blessing that you're able to.
Absolutely, man, dude. We certainly appreciate you coming on, and
how's it going now?
Just
so you know, how are you feeling now? You seem fine to me. Is things coming back all the way, and you're still moving forward, and
I'm still progressing. Every day I'm still progressing.
So you said something that struck me, and you said that people were saying they're proud of you, and I'm proud of you, because you say that God put you in this position, and I believe He did too. You know, I believe that you were put in the right place, but you had perseverance to get up and start moving that thumb. You know, a lot of people could have just, you know, oh, this is too much, you know, and now you have an opportunity to tell this story, you know. And I think the sobriety part is huge, Matt. I really do. And I really think that if there was a blessing from God, it was that you were sober.
Yeah.
And I really think that's so important to what happened. And that can be the message, you know, that can be what you're proud of, you know, that I was sober when this happened, or
it could
I could have not been picking up my
good.
children at school.
Yeah.
You know, there could have been a lot of worse things that could have happened. So I am definitely proud.
One of the things that kind of got me is my uncle Tommy said, you know, if you would have died, people would have thought you overdosed on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know, anyone that knows me, like kind of like you. So the first people that are outside, you know, my friends on the outer first level, like you guys, obviously would have known pretty quick that it was not drugs and it was something like that, you know. But
you didn't want people to think that.
I don't care what people think when I'm already dead.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, that would be unfortunate. You know?
Yeah, to have them. Yeah.
Like Melissa Clark, you know.
Yeah.
I never found out exactly what happened. You know, I haven't asked either, but my first assumption is suicide or drugs. You know,
It was a tragic overdose.
Yeah.
I did ask and was, you know, around the family when that happened, and she did overdose on drugs, and that's a sad story. But man, we're getting close to time, Matt.
So
thanks for coming out, and we really appreciate the story, man. This has been really enlightening. I'm glad we could get it on tape.
Each week we do a Flashback Friday.
Yeah.
We didn't want to make you have to do it as a
But
guest.
I got it.
But Kevin has it.
Yeah.
And it involves you.
So my Flashback Friday, man, this is one of my favorite stories, and I tell Matt about this all the time. So I moved to Klein in high school, so I didn't know, and some of our friends did too, but I wasn't friends with everyone like some of you guys.
Klein,
that grew
Texas,
up together.
suburb of Houston.
Yeah, Klein, K-Town, not Katie, like the
Not
other,
Katie, like
boy
the
Bo.
other guys.
But so I mean, I had all the, like, I was gradually becoming really good friends with everybody, but I didn't know all of y'all. Like, y'all had a connection. Matt, you're a year older than me, and I'm probably the youngest one here, but look the oldest. So you know, whatever it is, what it is. I started getting gray hairs early. But me and Matt were at Chad Threadgill's house, which we talked about the other day, the party house. And something had happened with this guy, Peter, and we'll just leave it, his name's Peter. And I had done something to him that his group of friends didn't like. And we're at Chad's partying, you know? And Matt comes over to me and he's like nudging me. He's like, Kevin, these dudes are fucking talking shit. And I'm like, what dudes? And he's like, those guys. And I'm like, at this time I was a doctor. So I had, they weren't prescription drugs, but I was facilitating medication to
street pharmacist.
Yeah, I was a street pharmacist, you know, and I happened to have 100 of my street pharmacy pills on me at the time. So I was kind of nervous if anything happened anyway. And the guy that was talking shit was kind of like, he was mad. And I was kind of like, more like, I got some my prescriptions on me. I don't want to get in any trouble. And Matt's like, fuck that, dude. Fuck that shit. You know, like those dudes ain't going to say that. And the guy came up. And he was about to start talking shit to me, and Matt was like, fuck no. And I've never seen this happen before. Matt went on him, southpaw to orthodox. Boom, boom. Walked this dude down. And as he's walking him down, this one, two, stepping on him, beating the dude's ass through the garage. Bloody, each step, more blood's flying out. And he gets him behind this washer and doesn't stop. And then like finally we break it up and he's like, I told you those dudes were talking shit, Kevin, you know, I got your back. And immediately right then I was like, this is my fucking homeboy for life, man. And I don't know if you saved me from an ass whooping, but you fucking definitely gave me an awesome memory, because that's one of the best fights that I've ever seen. It wasn't even really a fight. The dude didn't even know what happened. Like, he put his dukes up and then he probably woke up next to the washing machine. So that's my Flashback Friday, man. And Matt, thanks for catching my back that day. And no longer a street pharmacist. So
you know, we're missing one of our guest hosts. But one thing I had wanted to do while he was on here is say, man, do you remember putting the brass knuckles on and hitting Mikey in the dome?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about that the other day about this big
So it was going down, and I got my brass knuckles on, and I go tink, tink. And I'm young, I'm drunk, but I'm not stupid enough to hit somebody as hard as I can with brass knuckles. It doesn't matter who they are, you know.
Do you even remember why we were fighting? Because we all had said this, and it just kind of like, we were all kind of friends, and it just kind of popped off, and people were swinging and hitting each other. And then Mikey was like, yeah, and then Matt hit me with those brass knuckles.
I'm hitting who I think is the other guy, and Nicco taps me on the shoulder, and I'm down. I look over like that, and he's like, "You're hitting Mikey." And I'm like,
that's what Mikey said. It was on accident. And he goes, "No, I think about it. Maybe Matt just, got one cheap shot in on me." So that's pretty funny, man. So that's my flashback Friday, guys. Man, that was a fun time. And man, again, Matt, thanks for coming on the show.
Yes,
we appreciate it. I'm
man.
gonna let Nicco take us out. Obviously subscribe. Thanks for all the support, everybody. We're going all in every Friday at 10 a.m.
Thank you to our special guest today, Matt Lott, who actually might start coming in here to help us produce these shows a little bit.
We hope so, because I'm doing it, and I don't know if I'm doing a good job. So.
Kevin, you're doing a great
Thank
job.
you.
So, as always, we got the Joker, we got the Ace. We may or may not have the King of Missing Shows, and we're always going to have a special guest for you. We appreciate you subscribing. Hit that button, mash the button, whatever you want to call it. We'll have next week. Rusty Hendricks, Uncle Bean's Coffee.
So next week we're going to have Rusty Hendricks, Uncle Bean's Coffee. We're going to put her information. Also, we have the website updated. It's www.wedon'tknow.JAK. And
JAK.
JAK.
No C.
No C. And wedon'tknow.JAK.com. It'll have our next guest on the calendar. So that's all going to be updated. Also have all the previous views and videos that we've made in the past, but she will be our next host next Friday. We're looking forward to having her. She's an amazing woman, and she has a great story to tell. I don't want to give too much of her information, but she's a powerful woman and a powerful entrepreneur, and her story is very, very special. So We're going to go out, man. Peace, guys.
Peace.
We're going.